say you are in the right place. If you hear, it's because you are someone that identify one of those maybe weakness or strength. I can call them a strength behind the scene that sometimes we doesn't know, because I'm one of those. I did not know that I can speak maybe on camera. I like it, but I was so afraid that I spent my entire life hiding from the camera until I finally discovered, how to speak publicly and speak with other people, how to do networking and everything. So I learned that throughout the time. I did not burn like that. I did not. Being here, let's meet Clayton. Clayton is the founder of a podcast called BOS, Business Owner School. Welcome to have you here. This time we just do like a little breathe. In Spanish, Clayton, just so you know, is respirar, breathe. So we take a deep breath, and that always makes us feel good. I love to do meditation. So I find I was doing some research, some of this, I will say, quote, better belief habits. And one of them said, courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. That was saying by Breen Brown. And instead of better glasses, your network gives you better eyes. So it's the way to tell that how important it is to network. I was talking this morning about we've been creating to be in community, and it's good for us to know and learn how to communicate with other people and how to interact and break the ice, which is a big deal for us when we do network. The objective of this event tonight is to find solution to the problem that Mr. Clayton is going to talk about, identify opportunity, encourage creative thinking, and think out of the box. So any of you, if you have any question, feel free to ask questions. I love questions, and I'm sure Clayton loves it as well. So I ask for to be tolerant, be compassionate, welcome all kinds of personality, because sometimes we face personality that they are very outgoing, or maybe someone that is shy. So no matter you here, you can ask any question. Zero judgment, clean mind, and acceptance. So let's go ahead. With this being said, I want to welcome Clayton to our event tonight, Brainstorming Coffee Group. I was telling Clayton that we can bring coffee, we can bring tea, we can come, wherever you feel comfortable and be part of this, because this is more familiar than anything. So I love for you to feel comfortable. We want to learn. We want to absorb everything that we can from you. So welcome. So read your topic and let's come up with solution. But let's identify first the challenge, the topic, the problem. So go ahead, Clayton. Welcome to the group.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Frania. So how many of you ever walked into, the room at a seminar or, some kind of ribbon cutting or any other, business-like setting where you're expected to kind of meet and talk to people, and you looked at the group and you just kind of freaked out? Like, and even maybe if you didn't freak out, maybe you just looked at the group and were like, well, what do I do with all this, right? There's people everywhere. How do I approach this? And so that's kind of the problem we're going to be coming at today, and talking a little bit about, once you learn what to do with it, kind of the value of that, and kind of some steps to get you to where you can be using these types of situations to your advantage and the advantage of people you're meeting.
Right.
All right. So I want to tell you about my story. So I moved around a lot when I was a kid. I've lived in a couple different states, a bunch of different towns. We were always bouncing around, and I started off pretty bashful, but I've always been kind of extroverted and stuff. So I kind of had that need to talk to people and be around people, and just constantly bouncing around. It's always hard to make those friendships. I think a lot of people end up being friends with somebody in kindergarten, and they never think about how I ended up being friends with people. Well, with me, I had to learn how to be fast friends with a lot of people all the time. And as I got older, I kind of got better at that. And I had the advantage of having a dad who basically talked to everybody all the time about everything. And I remember where he was having a million conversations with people he never met before, and just watching him go on and on and on in these conversations. And that really impacted me as a kid. I always thought it was interesting, and I always kind of watched and observed that. And as I got older, I realized sort of the importance of knowing people and being known by people. So when we get into like a new place, there are always certain like key people my dad always seemed to meet. And the name you could call these people, we'll get into in a little bit. But the thing is, he always met like the right people. It seemed like the people that connect you with other people. And as I became an adult, though, I never understood like how it was he did that, and how I sort of got to this point where I could make friends with people. I was in high school and I knew the sheriff and the mayor and insert the people. And when I got into business, I really sat down and I looked around and I realized that a lot of people around me in these different environments didn't really know how to kind of do this stuff. And so I spent like the past few years sort of in the kind of background, really kind of thinking about this situation and thinking, well, what can I do to maybe take somebody who didn't have the person they could watch in mirror, and doesn't maybe have the personality that I have, where I can just kind of walk into a room and just talk to anybody. Like I recognize that that's a natural gift of mine, and I'm appreciative of that. And so it's like, what do you do? And I think the best thing is really to recognize how you feel and to know that it's okay to feel that way, and recognize that there's something on the other side of that fear that you have that's worth putting up with it, basically.
Yeah.
And then sort of having something of a system in place. And so for me, it's boiling everything down to the most simple pieces. So let's create a scenario. Let's say you're at insert a function. We'll say a convention, just because it comes to mind.
Yeah.
And you walk into this room and you have your little name tag on, and there's a little cheap cup of coffee, and you come in the room and everybody's kind of huddling around their little cup, right? And you see the few weirdos like me just run around, like having a heyday, because that's what we do. But then everybody else is kind of sitting there, and it's like, so what do you do, right? Like, I think that's what most people ask. Like, either they're freaking out because they're like, oh my gosh, I have to people, right? Or they're in the situation where it's like, I want to people, but like, how do I just approach a random person?
Right.
And the reason I want to kind of start with this environment is, I think it's the simplest one to start with. But first I want to jump into why you even want to do this in the first place, right? Because if you don't know why you would do this in the first place, the value of this, like, cool, it's just some guy on the internet spitting stuff at you on Zoom or Facebook or wherever you're at. And that is absolutely worthless. So what is networking really? Like, what is it we're talking about when we're talking about networking? And really, it's simple. It's building a web of connections of other people. I think I heard the saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's kind of true, but it's like, who knows you back is also important, right?
Right.
And so networking is an interconnected web of all the different people that and kind of know you back. And we all have one, whether or not you realize it or not. Everybody you already know, everybody you come in contact with is to some extent within your network. And the real power of having a network is manyfold. Really, one of them is like we're talking about, like the quote before is talking about, I can't remember exactly how the quote went, but it's something about you don't need glasses, like your network gives you better vision, right? So your network can be a pool of people that help you grow, right?
Exactly.
We are the sum total of the 5 people we spend the most of our times with. So, you're having a solid network helps you grow personally. It's where you can get information, insight, but also it's a groundwork, a framework for how to grow your business and how to expand your reach. If you think about it in a more modern sense that maybe people understand a little bit better, is like, you look at your followers on Instagram, which are part of your network, but they're like your digital network, we'll say. More in-person networking, the people are kind of like your Instagram followers, right? In a sort of a way. But the people you actually know, you actually interact with in real life. And so there's, I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. So I'm trying to get the idea, because I think a lot of people get hung up a little bit on kind of the idea and the value here. And I want to make sure I'm putting in terms that people really grasp. And I'm kind of thinking the way I was going to explain it, but maybe it wasn't the best way. So your network, well, think of like a house, right? So you have a house, you have a foundation, right?
Right.
And you build the walls and everything on top of that.
Mhm.
Your network is kind of the foundation of the building, right?
Right.
And so the building is your business. And so the people you know and the people you interact with, those are the foundation. And the wider out your foundation gets and the stronger your foundation is, the bigger your business can get.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Is that
That
clear?
makes sense. That makes
So let's
sense.
kind of put that together. Like, I think that was a better explanation than the way I was going with. Is one of those things that sounded good in my head, but then I started saying it and it was like, well, maybe that wasn't the best thing. So really the reason networking is important is because, to me, it's the heart and soul of all business. Because businesses, simply put, are systems of people who provide value to other people.
Mhm.
Okay. So do you think that was clear, Franny? Do you think I gave them enough of a reason why I should kind of get started? Maybe we can get into a little more in a bit, but
so far, I think I would say in my end that there's something that we always hear people saying, tell me who you know, and I will tell you the value. I will tell you how much you cost, like how much you can charge, but tell me who you know. So, I would like to really understand, where you're coming from. That way it's good to identify the problem, to see if any of us being in that situation, in that awkward moment when you get to that event, or maybe that, I would say, conference maybe, or maybe at your job, and you need to get into the conference call, conference room with so many people that you don't know who they are. So that moment is very awkward. I mean, I've been there several times, and I can identify with what you said. I think it's a good scenario what you want to bring first. That way people can have that feeling of what you're telling. We can feel that. I feel it already. I feel that, like, I don't want to remember when I screwed up. I try to grab my coffee, and when I get into the room, everybody look at me, and I was like, I can't even swallow. So I've been there several times, and I think, each of you have experience in that subject, and that's why, you are here. So I think it's a good point that you explained to us.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about, what do you do when you get in there and you've had that feeling in your throat, right? So when you get that feeling and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what do you do? Well, I think there's a couple approaches. One is you can kind of ease into it a little bit. And if there's somebody else there you already know, you can go and you can talk to that person just to kind of get the conversation started, get yourself talking, right? Sometimes you need a little bit of training wheels. But I would limit that conversation, because what people do in situations like that is they use that person as sort of like a leaning post and an excuse not to go talk to anybody else. So give yourself like maybe 5 minutes to talk to that person and say, hey, it's super great chatting with you. I'll get back to you. I'm gonna go kind of introduce myself to some people, to like make yourself get out there, and then just pick the nicest looking person you can see. Like make it, as low of a barrier as possible. Like whoever like makes eye contact with you and seems like, okay, they're probably not a mean person. All you have to do is just walk up to them and remember one thing: everybody there is there to do the same thing. And they're probably just as afraid or nervous or whatever as you are. And even if they're not, like that's fine. We're all here for the same thing. And so you just walk up and you introduce yourself. And people get hung up on this next part as like, the icebreaker. And it's, anybody who's been in these situations a lot, it's like you almost always end up with the same question. It's like, so what do you do, right? And if you've been in any of these conversations before, people will beat that up like, well, you should be more creative. And well, you know what, maybe, But if you're new at this and you're kind of getting started and maybe you're a little afraid, just ask, what do you do? I mean, it's like, it's the easiest thing. It's the most straightforward thing. And then that person's going to tell you what they do. And the trick here is follow the thread of the conversation. I think people get into stuff and they feel like, okay, there's some special stuff I'm supposed to say. There's some magic word, but really it's not. You're just getting to know somebody, and we've all gotten to know people before. Right. And so one of the things I like to do is I like to do two things. One is I like to be mindful of who's talking the most and who's talking about who the most. So for me, I like when the other person talks about themselves like 70% of the time. And the second thing I'm mindful of is what questions am I asking that person to get them talking about themselves 70% of the time. This does two things for you. One is it makes it a lot easier because you don't have to talk. And if you're nervous, that's great. The second thing is it makes people like you and trust you, because people like to talk about themselves. And as you keep asking sort of like open-ended questions, right? So I could be like, hey, Franny, what do you do? And you could answer. Go ahead and answer, Franny. I kind of threw you on the spot.
I'm a business coach, and I help entrepreneurs to move to the next level of success. I mean, I start talking about my passion and everything. I'm very easy to do networking with.
Go ahead, just roll with it. I just want to give an example real quick. I just threw you in the mix real quick without warning you. I'm sorry, but I believe you can do it.
I say, hi, okay, if they ask me, I say,
hey, Franny, how's it going? I'm Clayton.
Hi, Clayton. I help entrepreneurs. My passion is to help them move to the next level of success. If you have any problem, if you are facing any situation, I'm here to, help you to push you up and identify your strengths and see where you at and where you would like to be. So contact me here, my business card. Nice to meet you. But I usually go into something, like, where are you from? I mean, those are questions that I jump into right away. That make me feel comfortable because, like, for me, I'm someone that I like to learn about other people's culture, languages, and countries. And to me, it's my passion to meet people because that's what I do. But for some other people that are into, like Susan, for example, she's into taxes and businesses. Maria, she's into finance and businesses as well. We have Bruni, she's into real estate in investment as well. I'm not familiar with Kimmer or someone that is online right now. But for example, if that is your area, you should have passion about that. And that's what I do. I jump into my passion, basically, and that makes it easier for me.
So let's go with the example where you're the person, you're kind of scared, and you ask the person what they do, and they give you Franny's answer, right? And they say, okay, she's in coaching. And you can say, what you want to do is you want to do open-ended questions. You don't want to do like yes or no questions. So, oh, you're a coach. Yeah. Crickets, it's over.
Yeah.
But oh, you're a coach. So like what got you started as a coach? Like what makes you passionate about that? Like something that then she has to give you a complex answer to. Right? She has to actually come back and give you a sentence or two, and you can follow those threads. And next thing you know, you've had this 5-minute conversation with somebody where they've said almost every word in the entire conversation, and they love you and they think you're the best person on the face of the planet.
Yeah, that's very awkward. I usually try to keep my questions and my answer open. And if the person is yes or not, try to ask another question, and if not, just move forward to the next person.
Exactly.
Yeah, I usually do that.
I think you're going to experience the first time you do this is going to feel really weird. This isn't how most people really have conversations. This type of conversation is really it's intentional. All this stuff has a lot of intent to it. And that's a little goofy, right? Like we usually don't have conversations that way. So once you start getting this though, and you get some reps going, you're going to feel a lot more natural. You're going to feel a lot more comfortable. And a lot of that anxiety is going to go away, because what you're going to realize is like the fear you had usually is a fear of judgment, right?
Yes.
You're afraid that you're going to walk up and you're going to talk to that person and they're going to think you're weird, they're not going to like you, or they're, you know, whatever, they're going to notice that you're uncomfortable, that you're afraid, and that's what you're afraid of. But when you go and you start having a couple of these conversations and you kind of get past that first like about it, what you're going to find is like people don't think that. And if you have these kind of conversations and you have these intent filled conversations with the person and let them share with you who they are, and you actually care and connect, right? That's really important, is being really legitimate with people, is you're going to start finding yourself being less and less concerned. Like you might still be nervous, like you might still have some of the fear, but you're going to know, you're going to have evidence to back up the fact that like you're not going to get in some weird, terrible social scenario.
Correct. I agree.
So if for anybody that's listening to this right now and they're absolutely afraid, if that's all you learn from this, then that's, hey, spectacular. Go out and implement that. I would challenge you to find some place to go out around strangers. Like I said, good places. You can find networking groups, right? You can find them online all over the place. You can find ribbon cuttings. You can find seminars, wherever it is that you can be around other business people, and just talk to 3 people. I don't care if you run away after you talk to those 3 people and you cry in your car for an hour. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But find a spot and talk to 3 people, and I guarantee you'll start feeling better. So that's the first thing. If you're absolutely afraid, you take nothing away, just this first part.
Great.
And this next part's a little bit higher level. So I was talking about intent. So networking in this format, and there's other forms of networking. You can network online, and much of stuff, if you can take to Instagram or wherever, and you can have these same kinds of conversations with people there. There's so many levels of networking and meeting people and building relationships that we could, I mean, you could literally write books on each one of them, and people have. So we're not going to go too wide. So I just kind of want to use this basic scenario to kind of give people the idea. So when you're networking, you need to have intent. And part of the intent of the whole process is the idea that you're building relationships. You're not there to break some numbers game for the most hands that you can shake or the most cards that you can collect.
Right.
Because a relationship isn't a one-time conversation. It's a reoccurring thing. It's built over time. Like Franny and I, we met just randomly on Facebook. We're in a similar group on there, and we've talked and chatted a few times. And now look, we're here. Like that's sort of the progression. Exactly. So when you come into one of these situations, your goal is to meet people and not linger too long at one person. But my personal goal is I want to meet 3 people that I connect with in some way, because I want to find people that I'm actually going to follow up with, and I want to actually carry on the conversation, the relationship. Because personally, I've left events and stuff with fistfuls of business cards that at some point probably ended up in some box or in the trash with people that I never contacted again. And so you want to think like in that way, that who am I going to maybe be friends with someday? And keep an open mind. Don't come in too close. And then so in these situations, you're going to come into a process. If you meet people on Facebook or Instagram, it's easy because you're probably DMing them, so you already have contact. So I think all of you noticed earlier, Franny talked about giving someone their business card, right? So if you're at this in-person situation, you're going to exchange business cards. And when I think of a business card, my business card is nothing but my excuse to get their business card.
Right.
Because the reason for that is I want to follow up with that person. And what I'm going to do is in the next couple of days, I'm going to reach out to that person. There's a million ways, and a lot of people talk about it. Some people will, if there's a mailing address, they'll write them a letter. Some people use stuff like send out cards or whatever to send a letter. Some people email. Some people text. Some people call. You can even ask them, hey, what's your preferred way of being reached out to?
Yeah.
And reach out to them that way. Like that's, mind blowing, right? It's like nobody ever thinks about it. Hey, what if I reach out to you? Which one are you going to answer?
And
right?
that's a good point that you're saying, because I'm someone that I like to get connect with other people through email if it's something formal, but I love text, and I use WhatsApp, and then I go a little bit deeper into Instagram. If I'm next to the person, I interact and I exchange address with them. But there are some people that they only receive letters. you need to mail a letter to them in order to set up an appointment or something like that. And
Sure.
for those people, it's very hard to get into this new world where you can text someone informally and send them like a heart, thumb up and things like that. Before, that was disrespectful. I remember a couple of years back that you couldn't send a heart or something like that. That was like, who are you sending a heart? You shouldn't be doing that. So now we live in a world that you can send heart like, hey, bro, I'm here for you. And that's nothing. So that's a big transformation, big transition for people that are used to, just a formal email. Email is a big one. I remember those emails from before and now, where now you can say, hey, happy Monday. And people immediately reply. But before
you like they text.
Yeah, exactly. Like text, hey, something quick. Before that was very informal.
Yeah, you used to be a huge composition just to say, how's your morning going, right? It's like, well, here's my proper salutation, and I had to have, but in any case, once you get their information, if you can figure out the way to best contact them, within the next 2 to 3 days, just reach out in whatever way that is and say, hey, this is Clayton. We met at this place. I just want to say it was really nice to meet you, and see if maybe sometime you want to meet one-on-one. And usually people say yeah, and so you can set up a time, coffee shop, somebody's office, wherever, to meet one-on-one. And there's something really crucial about this one-on-one process. It cannot be a sales process. I like sales. I'm in sales training currently, so I have nothing wrong with sales at all, not even a little bit. But this cannot be a sales process. This is a relationship building process. So the point of the one-on-one is to take that first, like maybe 5-10 minute conversation you had and go deeper on that conversation, right? This is sort of the transition from the I just met you to let's build a relationship, right?
Yes.
And so from there, it's an expanded version of the same conversation. And so just the key the key distinction is, so many people get in there and then they start trying to sell people and stuff. And you cannot do that. That is the biggest way to destroy it, and like never get that person to answer your whatever again, ever. And one of the questions I would like to ask when I'm in this situation, even in the other conversation, is kind of toward the end, just be like, hey, Frania, I really enjoy this conversation. What is it that your best client looks like? So if I meet somebody that would be a good fit for you, I can refer them to you, and then they can tell me what their ideal client looks like. And so then from there, part of my job is actually try and refer people if I can, right? But that's, again, it's one of those things that's kind of endearing, right? People think, oh wow, they actually care about me and they actually want to help me, because the whole idea of the network is that you're going to support each other. The whole idea of the relationship is you're going to support each other. Now, you may not get referrals from everybody. You may not give referrals to everybody. Right. But the goal is to carry on that relationship and just kind of drop those seeds like, hey, I care and I'm looking out for you. And from there, just to continue the follow-up with those people. Sometimes it might be a few months before you see them again or talk to them again. Sometimes you might have your new best friend. You never know. And just from time to time, like, remember those people and just drop in like, hey, Franny, I'm just thinking about you. Like, want to see how you're doing, see if there's anything I can help you with or whatever it is. It doesn't, just be natural. Like you at this point, this person a little bit, so you know what to say. Like at this point, it's something you've done with other people a million times, and just stop thinking too much about it.
Right. Clayton, I have a question. What happened with those people that they are not interested to build relationship, or they just want to live their life insulated and they are not interested to network or do anything? However, they have a business, they want to grow their business, but they don't want to interact with people. What is your input on that?
My brutally honest input is you're probably going to have to find out why you feel that way, and you're probably going to have to address that, because you can't be in business without dealing with people.
That's true.
Maybe you can do some like Amazon fulfillment drop shipping thing where you deal with numbers and bots all day, maybe, but even that, like, you're gonna have to deal with people at some point. If you ever want to expand anything out, you're gonna have employees. If you're gonna deal with anything, you're gonna have suppliers, you're gonna have people you have to talk to running your advertising. It's I would love to say there's some, butterflies and rainbows. You can do it the way you are and it's perfect. But people say that business is the best personal growth program you can ever find for a reason. Like you have to grow as a person. And unfortunately, or fortunately, actually, because to me, I couldn't imagine living my life that way. I'm sure there's people out there that have a perfectly legitimate reason. I'm not trying to condemn it, but I would really sit down and just ask myself, why is it I feel this way? And kind of what's going on, and just realize that that's a hurdle that you're gonna have to get past.
Yeah, and another question that I usually ask also during our event is, how do you see the future networking, online? What's your input on that as well? So how people face the online business when they come from that side of the world, that they don't interact on social media, or they don't know how to speak on camera. So how that type of online networking?
I think the core of it's the same, because the core of it is getting to know people, right? It's social media, correct?
Right.
And other than that, still, it's just getting those skills, getting those new things. It's getting out of that comfort zone. It's maybe you have to pull out your phone and just talk on your phone on videos that nobody's going to see for a minute to get comfortable with the situation where you can record. But the best thing I can say to do is you got to just pull the trigger. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it hurts. I know it's hard. And I'm a compassionate person. I don't like the idea of people hurting, but I've done enough in my life. I've seen enough. I've known enough. And I've grown enough to know that sometimes you just gotta hurt. You gotta do the uncomfortable thing. And I say that with love. But you just gotta learn it. You gotta, everybody sucks in the beginning. You're gonna be terrible. I guarantee you're gonna stumble over your words. You're gonna DM somebody, too soon, or you're gonna DM them the wrong thing, or you're gonna get on Zoom and not understand how Zoom quite works, and you're gonna be talking and be muted still, and everyone's like, hey, and you're like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed, what I do this, and it's but hey, everybody did it once. That's cool.
Right, that's true. So I think we have time now to open up the microphone to everyone. I mean, if everyone will be interested to ask question. I know that we have maybe some people watching this video, the replay or something like that. They can type their comments. But now we are live with Maria and Bruni. Susan, she may be out as well. But anyway, if any of you would like to open the microphone and share your experience. I know Bruni have a lot. She's online right now. So Bruni, I mean, let's be humble and let's talk about those experiences that were when we don't know what to say. I mean, oh my gosh, I have so embarrassing moment. Clayton, just so you know, for me, when I came to this country, I need to learn speak English. And in the beginning was very hard. And I have my first position that I have. They give me the walkie-talkie. I don't know if you know what is that, the walkie-talkie, where you need to talk. And
hey, yeah.
I have no clue, and they talk to me, and I need to say, I have no English to speak on that little thing in front of, I mean, I think was over, Bruni knows, because actually Bruni worked for Sam's Club. Yeah. And I was in Sam's when that happened. That was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. Someone asked me something in the membership desk, and I say, whatever. Oh my gosh. That was one of the most embarrassing moments for me, learning English and trying to communicate with other people, going to the conference room. I don't know what to say because I forgot everything. I mean, those moments are very tough. So, now I said that we repeating the same thing over and over and exposing ourselves, even though it's hard, just go, jump and do it. And you're going to feel better and you're going to start feeling confident where you can speak. So Bruni, go ahead and tell me one of those experiences.
Yeah, no, what I'm going to say is that what he says is true. That at the beginning, it's like you're shy, you have no experience, and then nothing comes to you into your mind. But as soon as the time passing by, then you're losing that, the nervous to be afraid of in front of people. But you know, there is a time that you say, okay, so why I'm like that if everybody's like me?
Right.
So, yeah, so I have a lot of good experience and bad experience, but at the end it's over. And then every time you go out, you learn something and you get it. You know, it's not you become a professional, but then and you know you learn something every day. You learn, and then with this media, it help you a lot. You know, I was afraid before to talk, to even say hi, and I end up in Sam's Club with working in marketing. And sometimes I had to go to the business network, high level business network. So you have to be prepared. And I have a broken English. So you have to be prepared with your knowledge and then with your language. And, you know, I sometimes I felt like I'm afraid to open my mouth because my accent, but at the same time I say, wait, well, they here because I'm here and I work for the worldwide company. So we on the same level. Why not? So,
Right.
so it was a time like I encouraged myself to come out. You know,
Right.
and then I got an attitude, but at the beginning it was like a shy when he says that you have to break the ice and start with a short conversation. And then when the meeting is over, then you okay, it's like everything worked fine. So yeah, so it's good to 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 interact with other people no matter what level they are. So you always learn something, even the people they not knowledge or something. So once you out, you learn.
Right. That remind me, I was listening to Brandon not long ago, Bouchard, and where he said, we are human and we all have something in common, which is, you know, our passion or smiling or pain or you know, nervous, fear. We all going through the same thing, no matter if you are white, if you are, you know, African American, if you are Hispanic, or if you are from China. We all have something in common, which is love, fear, you know, passion, and so many things that really keep us or make us who we are.
So two things that I have is like from I don't remember. I think it was Vicente Fernandez who said this phrase. He says, if you're not nervous when you're in front of people, that means you don't respect. So nervous respect is when you feel respect for other people because you expecting to do your best.
Nice.
And the other thing is about my accent, or you know, like, is that we are in a multicultural country. So everybody, no matter what they are or they coming from, even you were born here, so everybody speak different. So that was something that showed that, you know, I learned to lose a little
Fear, yeah. Overcoming fear.
Yeah, so it's sometimes you play a little bit with yourself, and you know, it's like we're not well, I'm not professional, but you know, I survive.
That's great. Thank you,
survive.
Bruni. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
No,
I would like.
and then thank you, Clayton, because it's a lot. It's true what everything you say. I went through all of those things, and thank you.
Of course. I hope
Thank
I
you.
was able to help.
You're welcome. So Maria, you have the microphone open. Maria.
Oh,
Let's talk about networking, Maria. What is your experience?
a lot of the experiences. That's my life. When you do sales, you have to network with people. And I have been in situations that I don't feel comfortable, like connecting with people. But
Yeah.
I have learned that it's okay. You don't have to connect with everybody. You don't have to feel comfortable with everybody. That's my opinion, and that's my approach. Like I could be in a big room full of people, and if, I mean, I could talk with anybody. Doesn't matter if we don't have the same. Let's say the other person speaking French, and I don't know how to speak French. I would just say hi or something, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. Like, I am not expecting others to like me or don't or whatever. At the end, I believe if I am myself and I don't pretend to be someone else, I'm gonna be like natural. And if you go like that, you're gonna flow. And if you don't feel comfortable in X environment, you're just gonna move and you're gonna find your spot. But you gotta feel good with yourself.
Right.
Though you don't speak beautiful English or whatever, it doesn't matter. If I feel good with myself, I think I fit everywhere. And from that approach, I feel comfortable everywhere. But my husband here, he is the man. He has to say something because I do a party to any place, doesn't matter what language, whatever, he is gonna bloom. So
James, go ahead, James. Let's talk about networking, James, your experience.
The most important thing is don't try and sell and just speak to everybody. You don't speak the language, smile. The universal language is smiling.
exactly.
If you smile, people are going to smile back and they're going to talk in their language. And whether you understand it or not, it's going to be something. The smile is going to make you connect. So
Exactly.
something is going to connect, whether it's a smile, the language, whatever. But speak to everybody.
And the confidence.
And
when you carry yourself with confidence, I think that's a universal language too.
But just
speak
to everybody, the bum on the street or the president of the United States or the president anywhere. I don't speak Spanish that good, but I can understand a little bit of it. And if you don't understand it, smile and say, sí, claro. That's it.
Thank you, James. Thank you. I love you guys. I mean, to have you here. I mean, every time we do our show, we bring someone new. You know, they always participate, Clayton. So just so you know, we have a good people participating. We also have people online typing that they are listening. So that's good to have the support from people. I think people need to hear this. I think so, because the world is changing. I don't stop saying that, and it's really uncomfortable to hear people saying that they're not gonna show up. They don't want to participate of this when this is the new world. Our kids, our family, our young family, they are already doing all of this online and also in person. So we need to break with that. So some people, they are afraid to meet someone and say, where are you from? I think one of the biggest question is to ask ourselves, what is something related to my career or something that I'm interested in other people? Get a question, practice that question, and ask at least 3 questions. And go up there and ask those 3 questions to people and start practicing. And you become a master, building relationship with people and following up with the person that you meet. Because it's like you said, Clayton, it's not only get the business card, put in your package. I go to a big amount of events and shows, and I meet thousands of people in 1 week or 3 days event that I go, and I have a bunch of business cards like this. So what I do with that? So the only people that I call and I follow up are the people that I connect. Those people that I remember. Sometimes I don't remember the name, but I see the business card and I remember, oh yeah, this person, we talk about this. So last week I have a meeting with someone that I met in Atlanta, and he approached to my booth and he says, you know, where are you from? And I say, I'm from Florida, but I'm living in New Jersey. And he said, where? And I said, in this place. And he said, oh my God, you're not gonna believe, I was raised right where I live right now, and that was impressive. And this guy is a big distributor. These people have like over 9,000 stores that they do distribution, and this guy, I mean, we feel like we are brother and sister. So I called him last week and I said, hey, do you have a minute to talk and, you know, meet up? He said, of course, Frania, where do you want to meet? And I said, wherever you want. And he said, let's meet in this place. And, you know, I went, we met again, and we even hug each other. And everything come from a networking, a business card, someone that was able to break that fear and say, hey, I'm here, I have this product, I can do this. And this is why I consider this topic is very important, how to overcome those fears, Clayton, because people need that. They doesn't know what is in the other side. And the only way that you know that is exposing yourself, being open with other people, let other people talk. That's another thing, you know, be interested on what they want, what they like, where they from. And those things will make them feel special, and they will be able to approach to you and talk to you. I think it's great to have this topic to share with everyone. I don't know, Susan, she's been typing, and I've been, you know, chatting with her a little bit here. I don't know if she have a chance to show up. And if not, I think, you know, the time is great, Clayton. We are, you know, almost an hour sharing and talking about this topic. I hope, you know, we can take a good experience out of this conversation and practice and follow, you know, what you said. I think, Susan, you have your microphone open.
Yeah. Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you guys share. It was really, really close to my heart, and I really, really appreciate it. Some of the comments I said was that we may speak with an accent, but we do not think with an accent. And I believe that the more we love, I think that more fear we can banish away. And that's one of the things that I've been working on and asking God, help me to love more those people, my clients, my students. I want to really, really, I don't want to feel sorry for them, because feeling sorry for people is a counterfeit of love. Mm-hmm. I need to learn to really love them, to see them through their own eyes, not through my eyes, but to see them through their own eyes, so that I can truly, at the core level, really understand them, because that's the only way I can make a lasting impact, you know? So that's all I wanted to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you for your time. Thank you for every one of you, Clayton, for being here, for bringing this amazing topic. We are pleased to have you, pleased to, you know, listen from you and share every single one experience, because that someone say, like, remembering is to live. And we feel good when you remember those time and the way that you react and the way that you react now. So it's just a work in progress. We live in a world that, you know, we need to have the culture of grow. And this is the best way that we can do it, is listening from others that have been there, or maybe practicing, you know, what we learn from other people. So thank you, Clayton. If you have anything else to say, Clayton, I say thank you for being here.
So yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Frania. I really enjoyed this. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope that something I said was of value to you, that you can take at least one thing away. And really the kind of last thing I'd like to leave you with, I think is really probably the most key thing to a lot of this, is courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in the face of fear, right? It's you know, everybody talks about wanting to be fearless. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's, you know, it's not being fearless that matters, it's doing it anyway.
Right. Yeah. Do it anyway. I have a big talk on that in my coming book. Do it anyway. So yeah, that's a big goal. But thank you so much. Thank you, Clayton. Thank you everyone for being here, and for the people that are online. Thank you, the one that are listening to this replay video. We also are in a YouTube channel as FraniaG Gutierrez, and also we have some other show and so many events also going on. So I hope you continue supporting us, and we really appreciate me and the team that we all work hard to make this happen, and bring new topic every week. So thank you so much everyone for being here.
I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the